West.
Yeah, that's the first time. Yeah, you were right there. Right there.
Hey, alright, we're on the right track. Alright. So they say golf is a game of respect. Let's repeat that. Golf is a game of respect. And with that, golfers are expected to play with a set of mannerisms and a set of etiquette. Now, this etiquette might be thought of like in baseball, the unwritten rules. For instance, as a pitcher, if you throw at someone, you better believe that when you get up to bat, you're going to get a ball coming in your head. It just goes how it is. It's not written in the rule book, but you know it's rules that players have to follow. Now, etiquette is part of golf, as I said, is a tradition. So that tradition is something that's passed down from golfers that first started on to golfers as times have changed. Now, one thing that hasn't changed, though, is golf makes a great way to network. So there's a lot of people in here who, in the future, plan to be in business of some sort. Golf course is a great way to, again, network with other employees, preferably higher-ups, whether it's an SVP, VP, presidents, whatever the case may be. Now, I know a lot of you probably don't play golf, but that's okay. It doesn't so much matter if you're any good at golf, as long as you know these etiquettes. Now, my formal mentor, which is someone who basically, if you have any questions at work, or if you're up for a promotion, or basically someone in the background is whispering in other VP's ears saying, hey, you know, this guy's a really good candidate for whatever job opportunity they might have. I met him on the golf course in a company tournament. He happened to get paired in a group with me. We played together. We met, talked, I got his number. We ended up having lunch a couple times. And from that point on, we built a relationship. And again, that was all based off the golf course. My current boss now, for my most recent promotion, I met him as well as another company tournament. Same exact scenario. Played golf, got his number, talked a little bit, went to lunch. Next thing you know, he had a spot open it up in his department. Thought I'd be great. And, you know, golf necessarily didn't make me more qualified, but it got my name in the door. It was name recognition to the point where when I did get the interview, it was crucial. He already knew my name. That awkwardness of when you first meet someone was already over with, because I've already had multiple conversations with you. Now, some of these etiquettes I will be teaching you today to help you proceed in business life would be how to fix divots, how to take a proper divot pattern, how to be aware of other players' line of sight, and finally, how to avoid players' putting line. So let's start with the most common and recognizable golf etiquette, that's fixing divots. Now on the left you see a putting green divot. That's basically when a ball's coming in from the fairway, hits the green, leaves a little indentation. Second is a divot from the fairway. That comes from striking the ball and taking a chunk out of the grass. Now Patrick O'Brien says that the average golf course sees about 30,000 rounds a year. Now in those 30,000 rounds, that's obviously going to produce a lot of divots. Now they're very easy to fix, but they're also very easy not to fix. And as we discussed before, golf is a game of respect. And out of respect, you want to fix everything in the sense of players coming in after you should be able to play at the same conditions that you earlier played at. Now to fix a putting green divot, you need a divot tool, which is basically looks like a fork with two prongs. You stick that under the ground, you lift the indentation up, and then from that point, usually you can take your foot, or preferably a putter, and just kind of pat it down to level the ground out. And as I said before, why do you do that? It's to make sure that the green is smooth for players behind you, again, to make sure that it's respectful to players. It's an etiquette. Next would be the fairway divot. Now this is easier. There's usually a sand bucket on the side of every golf cart, because let's be honest, nobody walks anymore. And on that side, again, you just take the sand, whether with a scooper, or sometimes they actually have it in a dispensary that you put the sand again in that hole. And the purpose of that is to make sure the grass goes back quicker and evenly. Now that sand is composed of different nutrients and different seeds in it. These are diagrams below of what I was just talking about. On the left is a putting divot, and that's the divot tool you stick in the ground, lift up. At that point, like I said before, you use the putter to pat it down and lift it up. On the right is the mechanism I was saying where you have the sand in where you fill it in. Now that we've learned how to fix divots, let's learn how to take a proper divot pattern. A lot of players want to get on the driving range and hit balls sporadically, leaving a bunch of different divots, which unfortunately damages a large surface area. What you should be doing is taking your ball and putting it on the back of the most recent divot that you made, trying to make a more compact divot pattern. Again, as I stressed before, this is a game of respect and etiquette. The purpose of doing this is to make sure you don't damage as much area, so that way other players coming behind you can have the same opportunities that you did to practice. Now that we've learned to fix divot patterns, Next would be golf line of sight. A player's line of sight is basically in someone's peripheral view. It's not so bad to actually be in someone's line of sight. It's more important that when you are in someone's line of sight, you make sure you're not moving, fidgeting, making noises. Basically, you just want to make sure that you're respectful again and not causing distractions for another player. Now, in that putting line, it said, Arnold Palmer has said that the etiquette rule of never walking in someone's line of putting is an absolute. Now, Arnold Palmer's an ex-Hall of Famer. This is probably the most golden rule, especially if you're playing with different executives. It's one thing if you're not fixing divots. It's one thing if you're not fixing your ball on the green. But if you're walking in someone's putting line, that's actually affecting someone else's game. Now, again, I can't stress the fact that never to walk in this path. Now, the issue is that your foot can leave an impression, so thus, when the ball is traveling through that line, it can knock it offline, it can move. Golf's considered a game of inches. So if you miss a putt by an inch, that cuts you from shooting, even to 1 under, or 80 to 79. That's a big difference. And as we said before, it's probably going to be out there networking. You just want to make sure you're on everyone's good side. One more time. Okay, so we've covered fixing divots, divot patterns, a player's line of sight, and a player's putting line. Hopefully next time you play golf, whether you're networking or whether it be with friends, you can pass these rules along. So in the future, when they do have an opportunity to meet someone new, whether it is an executive or just a new friend, they'll be able to make a good impression on them. Now, golf is considered a gentleman's game or a lady's game. And according to Merriam-Webster, a man who treats other people in a proper and a polite way is defined as a gentleman. Thus, why a gentleman's game is you want to treat the course in a polite and proper way. Thank you.